Zing Yesterday for me is a very unusual anime. For a show like this, I would expect it to be a quote-unquote hidden gem, but that's not really the case. It's surprisingly enough probably one of the most popular anime of the season. It's got a decent viewer base, and frankly it's one of those anime that I keep getting asked on why I haven't made a video about the show yet. Now that I actually think about it, I'm guessing the main reason why it's so popular is just because of how uncompetitive this season of anime has been. But today, I do want to take some time to talk about probably my biggest problem with this show that's frankly been bothering me since the show originally aired. I do want to preface that most of this stuff is purely subjective in my opinion. I'm actually expecting a lot of people to disagree with me here, and that's totally fine. If you disagree with me, I completely understand, and I'm not going to fault you for enjoying this show. Now, time for the big question I'm sure you've all been wanting to know. Do I hate this show? No. Now, do I like this anime? Yeah, actually I do like this anime. Now, here's the kicker. Do I find it painful to watch at times? Absolutely. I know that may seem contradictory, but I think my perspective will make more sense the more I go into depth about why. So first, let's do a quick synopsis of the show, and obviously, spoilers ahead. The show follows our main protagonist, Uozumi. I think I pronounced that right, but I'm gonna be frank with you guys, I probably butchered the name. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at this. The girl from his dreams that he met at college, Shinako, moves back into town. Uozumi pursues a relationship with Shinako despite feeling incompetent about himself, since at the beginning of the anime, all he is doing is working a part-time job at a convenience store. Meanwhile, Haru comes along and starts pursuing Uozumi, and of course, soon enough, Rokun also begins pursuing Shinako, since they were childhood friends. But of course, Shinako is in love with Rokun's older brother, who of course died a while back. So needless to say, every character isn't getting what they want. And that kind of stems out into all the characters creating these toxic relationships with one another. Look, I truly think just about every single character in this anime is shitty in some way, with maybe the exception of Shinako. Shinako pretty definitively turns down both Uozumi and Rokun. However, both characters decide it's in their best interest not to give up. Therefore, both of those characters are pretty much responsible for their own misery. And that flows down to the character of Haru. Haru is in love with Uozumi and has a similar problem of not giving up. But whereas I found Shinako being somewhat kind to Uozumi and Rokun, Uozumi is a dick to Haru. Like, just really screwed up levels of mean. Like, obviously, it is her fault to a pretty decent extent because she keeps pursuing him despite this. However, every time she's about to give up, Uozumi comes by and gives her the smallest bit of hope, which is just plain cruel. Actually, now that I think about it, Shinako does the exact same thing to Uozumi, so I'm gonna take back what I said about her being the only non-shitty character in the anime. So here's my point. Notice how each relationship with the characters isn't mutual. Each one has a weird power dynamic and ulterior motives, and I despise relationships like this. I've personally had a few encounters with relationships like this in my life, and seeing them in anime just lights a fire inside of me. These relationships, if any of them ever come to fruition, will most certainly become abusive. Normal, healthy relationships aren't built like this, and this anime, to some extent, romanticizes it, which is frankly what hits me the hardest. It's kind of like cringe comedy. Like, it brings me back to Watamote, an anime designed to make you go, oh god, was I really like that in high school? I don't know, it's just that for me, shows like this are particularly painful because they bring up memories that would be better off not brought up. However, I do think that's kind of the purpose of this show. I don't think any of this is meant to be viewed as characters building healthy relationships. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest improvements we've seen with Uozumi is when he takes a break from seeing Haru and Shinako to focus on his work. Like, it's legit the happiest we've seen him in a while. And we do get to see some characters in his life who've grown up and have learned how to not be toxic in relationships. I think by far my favorite episode of the anime is when Uozumi's ex-girlfriend from high school comes to crash at his place. She shows up and basically does her best to not be intrusive. She genuinely only chose to crash with Uozumi because she assumed he wouldn't have a girlfriend and wouldn't be intruding on anyone else. However, the second she realizes that she may have caused a misunderstanding with Shinako and Haru, she almost immediately corrects her mistake and then moves out to make sure she doesn't cause any more trouble. It's her understanding that she could easily stay and milk Uozumi for a while more, but knowing that it would almost certainly cost him his chances with getting into a real relationship. So she reconciles the situation and removes herself. She's able to understand that their relationship as it currently stands isn't a mutual one like she had originally hoped. Basically, she was going to crash at his place for a bit, and then in exchange, she was going to cook, clean, and so on. However, she now understood that not only would she be staying at his place, but she would also be damaging his relationships with Haru and Shinako. So what does this all mean? What am I trying to say here? I think as the show stands right now, everyone's relationships are way too one-sided. I expect that the only way that any of these characters are going to actually get together is if they all spend a decent bit of time apart first to develop, and then meet up under different circumstances. I actually kind of expect Rokun and Haru to eventually get together, as I feel like even though they don't have much of a relationship, it's probably the only one in the entire anime that's actually mutual. I know a lot of people are going to fight me on this, and that's fine. Different people see different things. But that's what I've been getting from this anime. And that's also why it's been painful as hell for me to watch. However, as I've mentioned in plenty of my videos beforehand, I don't just watch anime to feel good. I watch anime for good stories, good characters, and to have emotions brought out of me. And you know what? In that regard, this show has done incredibly well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have to admit, I genuinely didn't think I was going to make a video on this anime because my feelings were so split on this anime, but luckily I sat there and I really picked my brain and figured out why I hated this show for some reason, but at the same time I kept coming back. Like I was addicted to it because the characters and the story was really good, but it just pissed me off every time I watched the episodes. It's like a weird, messed up relationship. I mean, I guess that's why I play League of Legends. Speaking of smooth transitions, come join me on twitch.tv/ManAnimeMatt. If you're watching this video as it goes live, that means I'm probably streaming. And watch as I play some League of Legends or probably some other Weeby games. We'll figure it out as we go. Hey, you thank to my patrons. You guys are my heroes. Please make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is ManAnimeMatt. Make sure you guys stay man and go watch that goddamned anime.